Hey, good evening. I'm really happy to have you here. My name is Daniel. I was a professional opera singer and beatboxer, and tonight we're gonna be listening to Voiceplay's cover of Radiohead's Creep. So, I don't listen to Radiohead. I might have heard the song in passing, but even if I did, I really don't know it or remember it at all. So, this is gonna be a fresh experience for me, and I'm really excited because a lot of Voiceplay's stuff turns to gold, so I just got that hype. And I'm just really excited to jump into this, and I hope you guys are as well. So without any further delay, let's just jump into it. Oh, yeah.
When you were here before, couldn't look you in the eye. You're just like an angel.
Oh, his voice is so tender.
Your skin makes me cry.
Yeah, dude.
You float like a feather.
Ah, chills, man.
In a beautiful world. I wish I was special.
Oh yeah, I've heard this song before, but in passing.
You're so very special. But I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo.
Oh.
What the hell am I doing here?
Oh, his voice is so great too.
I don't belong here.
I don't care if it hurts. I wanna have control. Perfect body. I want a perfect soul.
I want you to know it. I'm not around. You're so very special. You're so special.
Ah! Oh my gosh. Ah! Oh, this call and response.
She's running out the door. She's running out.
Oh my god!
Whatever makes you happy.
Chills.
Whatever you want. You're so very special. Oh, I wish I was special. But I'm a creep. I'm a widow. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. I don't belong here.
The chills were just unrelenting in that, dude. I don't want to pause. I just want the sound to keep resonating in my ears.
Special.
Dude. Man, that piece is just enervating. Like, I feel like I was just assailed with these very tender yet just so emotionally draining sounds. It, like, the cadences were so smooth. It just felt like I was getting barraged by waves of sound, and it just keeps crashing against me, pushing all of this energy out of me just so I can fully experience everything that's just happening. Oh my gosh, I'm exhausted. Like, oh my gosh, there were so many elements of that were just small details that really compounded and stockpiled to the real beauty and integrity of the piece. Let's jump into the analysis right now. Just immediately, this beautiful arpeggio, or just broken chord into different sections, and just everybody coming in so fluidly and just moving fluidly. It immediately sets the tone of what's to come, and it's magic.
When you were here before.
Ah, and just that sentence structure. When you were here before. Oh, just that first vocal line just gives you chills, and the song is so unrelenting because those chills just continue throughout the entirety of the piece. It's just magic, man. And the solo bass line.
Look you in the eye.
Ah, the open instead of I, can look you in the eye. It's just so tender, and immediately connects to your heartstrings and just gives you tugs. Every single tapering that just comes off, or every single line that just doesn't have a sharp cutoff but just allows to fade. And that fade is just, it just pulls your heart. Oh my gosh.
Couldn't look you in the eye.
Ah!
You're just like...
In tandem with that really sultry, just low bass line that you could just feel the breathiness of it. Oh my gosh.
In the eye. You're just like an angel. Your skin makes me cry.
The skin. Just holding that N. And just allowing that N to transition into the next musical cadence. Oh, and just that bass opening up a little bit in its vowel, it just adds so much more growth. Even though it's such a minor little detail, it just adds so much more growth in this very confined space.
Skin makes me cry. You float like a feather.
Just that R. It's not really bitten down of but you can hear that American R just not rounding it out, creating a softer tone, but still emphasizing the fact that it's not going to be more crisp if you were to roll it like but allowing that smoothness of the R to flow with the rest of the musical cadence.
You float like a feather. In a beautiful world.
Just the phrasing, it's so wave-like.
I wish I was special.
Oh, and that L. L is very guttural in your throat, so just saying, I wish I was special. Oh, but it's still so rounded. To be able to make that kind of guttural sound still as forward and directed as every other sound has been is really a tough skill, and it requires a lot of understanding as to how you vocalize certain sounds in your own voice, and translating that to something so emotionally tender and still forward without it sounding too guttural, and just taking you out of the tone of the piece, and that's really well executed.
I wish I was special. You're so very special.
And that growth into a sharp cutoff. Yeah.
but I'm a creep.
His voice here. You can tell that the dynamic has shifted to something a little bit louder. The volume has shifted to something a little louder, but his consonants are very crisp. Creep. And allowing that P its full integrity instead of creep, which could have happened, but having that creep and allowing the air to still come through to fully round out the P, it adds a strong sense of value to the integrity of each word, but it doesn't lose the tonal center of the piece, which is this soft, emotionally tender aesthetic at this part of the song, and it's just constantly pulling on you. So even though the dynamic is a little bit louder, and even though the words are becoming just ever so slightly less rounded, they're still very rounded. The transition of the piece and how the piece is progressively climbing, but not feeling very jagged in its climb, but just so smooth. It's so seamless how they're just handling each musical phrase as its own phrase, just progressively growing throughout the piece. Just magic, dude.
But I'm a creep.
Oh, and his vibrato is so nice.
I'm a weirdo.
Oh, weirdo. Just playing with those tones a little bit. Yeah, love that, dude.
What the hell am I?
And just, what? A little bit of that emotional constriction in the throat. What? It just, it really tugs. I wouldn't recommend that classically because it's a constriction, but just in the context of the piece, incredible choice.
Oh, weirdo.
Oh.
What the hell am I doing here?
Oh, just their phrasing, just the way that they approach each musical line and the way that they approach each word within that line with so much care. Oh, yes, I love it when musicians give so much respect to the vocal lines and not just focusing on the primary stress of the line or the primary note that's going to gather the most attention, but each word, each musical phrase, each sentence, each consonant, each vowel just carries so much weight and tenderness. Oh my gosh, it's just magic.
What the hell am I doing here?
And just the way that that bass comes in right under it to round it out a little bit and just gives you more of that fullness on top of this just delicate line. Oh, I'm so in love with this piece already.
What the hell am I doing here?
Oh!
I don't belong here.
Ah, just that growth and cut off again. Ah, it's just so crisp and so well executed. And then Lane coming in on these guttural drums and just yeah, just it's really good stuff.
I don't belong here.
Yeah, and just that K. So that K he does, I'm pretty sure that's a rim shot, where instead of an inward K, where you would create a seal with your tongue on your hard palate or the area just behind your upper set of teeth, and you seal that with your tongue and suck in on one side, instead of sucking in the air with your lungs, you're sucking in with just the muscles in your mouth. But he could also be doing an outward K. Like, let's listen to that again.
I don't belong here.
Yeah, it sounds like an outward K where he's just and memorizing that combo. It doesn't necessarily sound like the most complex thing, and I'm sure that if I spent the next few hours learning it, I'm sure I could perform it as well. But it also takes me a long time to learn specific beatboxing combos. I beatbox very casually, so I don't spend a lot of time just like mastering other people's combos and incorporating them into my beats. I just take a lot of really interesting ideas and concepts and incorporate them into my own style. Hence why I can't do a lot of really complex things. But man, I just love the attention to detail as to how Lane just uses these sounds, these very big sounds and crisp sounds so fluidly with each other without making any sound that would be outside of the context of the piece. Like, having very forceful sounds would feel wrong here. Having a sound like or would feel a little too heavy at this point, but just this, it just works so well in this context of where we are currently in the piece. And it just, so nice. Just great choices all around from everybody in the group so far.
I don't belong here.
I don't care if it hurts.
Oh, and just, you can hear Lane's breath too. Yeah. Like, I didn't do the exact beat, but you get the idea if you just listen really closely to his breath. It just adds a little bit more of that emotional tug in the beatboxing, let alone the actual vocal lines. Stellar stuff.
Care if it hurts. Wanna have control.
Control. Just that slide into that bass register. Oh, yeah. Like, he could have done control, but instead, control. Just that slide into it. Oh, yeah. Just that line needed that slide because we're still in this wave-like structure of the piece. It's so great. And he's so tender with it, too.
I want a perfect body.
Oh, and just, I want perfect bad. It didn't just feel so consistent and smooth throughout all of it. He added a little bit more dynamic range in that, where he had a little bit of a sforzando. And a sforzando is where you attack a note, back off of it, and crescendo again, like, bah! That's a sforzando. So to do it so tenderly, like, let's listen to that again.
Wanna have control. I want a perfect body.
Yeah. Yeah, so great. Oh, these arpeggios. Ba, ba, ba. Yeah, it's just,
Perfect soul.
Oh yeah, and round, he was repeating it. So you can actually hear just the ever so slightest change in that round. And I love that, because I'm a huge advocate, and I say this constantly in my videos when it happens. If you're going to repeat something, it has to be different from the first time you say it. Otherwise, you're going to be essentially a robot. Like, I am here, I am here, I am here. In comparison to, I am here, I am here, I am here. Having that range allows more of a human experience to happen between the artist and the audience. So to have just this ever so slight round, like let's listen to that again. Yeah, the dynamic was ever so slightly on the following rounds, and his facial expression changed as well. Again, very minor, but just adds so much more life to the repetition of the word. And I find it to be so essential.
So very special, you're so special.
Oh, and just the way that they're passing the baton to each other on the lead vocal line. Ah! Oh, he just did that as a straight tone, too. Oh, that was so great. Oh. Ah, yeah, dude. Oh. Oh my gosh, just his voice, his belt, his everything. Oh, what am I doing here? Oh my gosh, dude. just all of the background voices coming in on these offbeats while the leading vocal line is just leading all of the, oh my gosh, dude. The door. Just modifying that vowel a little bit just to have it start small and concentrated and just explode out as you progress through the note. Oh yeah, man. Really great approach to that. And just that glide down. Yeah. Oh, and that bass growl. Oh my gosh. And Lane's just full beatboxing sounds. Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah, that beatboxing is incredible. I can't even replicate it that well. But just having this call and response of run, 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 like, it's just really great call and response, but just, it's constantly growing. It's not run, 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 run. It's, you just feel that presence building. Oh yeah, there's so much life and dynamic contrast in this piece. This is so perfectly executed, dude. And just the way that was held and penned throughout the entirety of the phrase, it was so well executed. You take that really big breath and you understand the amount of breath it's going to take to do this entire cadence without the need to breathe or take quick breaths in the middle, because taking that quick breath would end the sound in order to pick up again. And it's absolute, and they recognize how absolutely imperative it is to have this long flowing sentence, because that's what's going to make that sentence, that musical phrase, have the gravitas it needs to be carried through to the remainder of the piece. Oh yeah, dude, this is just stellar. And you just see on their faces, every single one of their faces, just this emotionally enervated sensation. Just, they're so exhausted, and just, it took everything out of the, oh my gosh, dude. I'm just so connected with them emotionally. Oh my gosh.
Whatever makes you happy.
And to still have the energy to do this.
Whatever you want.
Whatever. Back into this very emotionally tender and just sliding into these grooves. Ah!
You're so very special.
Ah!
Oh, I
These
wish
slides.
I was special. But I'm a creep. I'm a widow. What the hell am I doing here?
Oh yeah. What the hell am I doing here? Like, just the fact that he took his liberty on that line. Like, it wasn't so perfectly beat for beat. He just had so much freedom and just penned that so beautifully, because it still stayed within the context of the piece. And it just flowed so perfectly. Oh my gosh.
I don't belong here. I don't belong here.
Oh. Yeah. Oh my gosh. That was just, what more can I say? It was just stellar from beginning to end. The wave-like motion, the expression, the emotion, the dynamic range, the way that they approached each musical sentence, each cadence, their tenderness on each vowel, each consonant, each word, the beatboxing, very clean, very appropriate sounds for each section of the piece. Very big sounds when it needs to be big, but also very intricate and tight, concentrated sounds when it needed to be more emotionally tender. And just that bass line, just constantly rounding out each chord, regardless of what section of the piece it was in. It was so big and so full, and the way that it was tapered, even especially at that range, at that very deep range, it's so difficult to control, but to have that level of skill and mastery over your voice, for all of them to have such mastery and skill over their voice, especially in Ellie's straight tone section and belt, or in Caesar's just very emotionally tender beginnings and ends to the piece, or Jeff's really sultry bass lines and oh my gosh, man. And the guest artist, I think his name is Anthony. Yeah, just his lines just contributing to the sensational tenderness of the piece and intensity of the piece. I'm so enervated, but in the greatest ways imaginable. Oh my gosh, I love this. I love this so much. Yeah, that was so great, dude. Thank y'all so much for watching this video with me. If you guys liked it, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And if you didn't like it, please leave a dislike and let me know why in the comments below. I do read all of the comments, even if I may not heart or reply to all of them, so please just know that your comments do not go unnoticed, and I do take them into further consideration as I make future videos. My live streams are currently Thursdays at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so if you guys would like to stop and say hey, or just ask me any questions about me or the channel or anything, I will be there for you guys. That is subject to change, but presently it is still Thursdays at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and I will absolutely let you guys know if it does change at any point in the future. My Patreon is still under development, and I really appreciate your patience in that. I am making a ton of content for it, and I'm really excited to share that for you guys when it is finally released. And I will, again, absolutely let you guys know when that is going to happen. I deeply appreciate all of you being here, and I can't say that enough, so thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for being here, and I cannot wait to see you all in the next video. Have a great rest of your evening, everyone.